The communication hub of mining station Kepler-44 Tobe echoed with the sound of shattering components. Sparks erupted from malfunctioning panels as Vex Milani scrambled at the central console. His 6 arms worked with frantic precision, racing to fix the transmission array before time ran out. Vex was a Quillian, a bird-like species draped in soft gray feathers. His large golden eyes mirrored the flickering console lights as he struggled to establish a connection. Renowned as master engineers, the Quellians had one crippling flaw. They were pacifists who had never learned the art of war. "Come on. Work," Vex urged, his voice resonating with the musical cadence typical of his kind. Behind him, the station shuddered as another explosion rattled the corridors. The enemy was closing in. 3 days earlier, the Ravager horde had descended, their massive organic vessels encircling the station. These nightmarish beings consumed entire worlds, stripping them of life and resources before moving on to their next prey. Vex had witnessed their devastation. The Ravagers' bioships landed on planetary surfaces, devouring cores within hours, leaving behind lifeless husks.
Ow.
No species had ever managed to repel them. As the console flickered to life, Vex swiftly adjusted the transmission frequency, hoping to pierce the local sector's boundaries. The Quillians had detected peculiar energy readings from the 3rd spiral arm of the galaxy, evidence hinting at an advanced civilization. "Let someone be there," Vex silently pleaded, beginning his urgent broadcast. Across the galaxy, Commander Jake Harrison concluded his patrol as a voice called out on the bridge. "Sir, we've intercepted an unknown signal," announced Lieutenant Amy Stone, her tone sharp with curiosity. "It's faint but growing stronger." Harrison, a seasoned Earth Defense Forces officer in his 50s, with silver streaks in his hair and weary eyes, nodded. Humanity's ventures into deep space were still new. Their faster-than-light travel had yet to uncover intelligent life. "Run." Through the translation matrix, Harrison instructed, "Let's find out what this is." The bridge fell quiet as unfamiliar sounds emanated from the speakers. Artificial, yet utterly alien, the transmission eluded Earth's databases. Dr. Elena Vasquez, the ship's xenolinguist, leaned over her console, her voice brimming with awe. "This is remarkable," she murmured. "It's undeniably intelligent. The mathematical structure is complex-eyed, can begin deciphering it." Oh. On Kepler-44 Tobe, Vex pressed on, relaying every fragment of data he could gather about the enigmatic beings from the 3rd spiral arm. They called themselves humans, and preliminary scans hinted at their origin, a planet shaped by extreme environmental conditions. Vex clung to a glimmer of hope as he concluded his desperate message. Somewhere out there, the unknown warriors of the 3rd spiral arm might be listening. Vex began speaking, his voice trembling but resolute. "We know you are there. We have detected your energy signatures and believe you to be a spacefaring species. I am Vex Milani of the Quellian Confederacy, and I am reaching out because we are dying." The station shuddered violently, louder this time. Vex could hear the shriek of metal being ripped apart from the lower levels. The Ravagers had breached the outer defenses and were now inside. "Our people are peaceful," he continued. "For thousands of years, we have thrived without war in a quiet corner of the galaxy. But now, the Ravager horde has found us." Dr. Vasquez worked feverishly at her console aboard the human vessel. The alien language was beginning to reveal its meaning, and with each deciphered phrase, her unease deepened. "Commander," she called, her voice tight with urgency, "you need to hear this. It's a distress signal." Harrison stepped to her station as the translation program converted alien words into English. The bridge crew gathered to listen, tension palpable. "They consume entire worlds." Vex's voice, now translated, reverberated through the bridge. "Ships are alive, grown rather than built. They feed on planetary cores, leaving nothing behind. They have destroyed 47 star systems in a century. No one has ever stopped them." Vex's voice grew heavier with desperation. "We tried to fight, but we do not know how. We're builders, not destroyers. The Ravagers are killing us, and we are powerless to stop them." Back on Kepler 44 Tobe, footsteps echoed down the corridor. Vex froze, recognizing the chittering of Ravager drones. They were close. These monstrous creatures 10 feet tall, with acidic blood and razor-sharp claws, were the Horde's ground forces. Sent to finish survivors, Vex locked the door and resumed his broadcast. If anyone hears this message, if you have any sense of honor or mercy, please help us. We offer everything we have. Our technology, our knowledge, our friendship, whatever you desire. We are the Quillian Confederacy, and we are dying. Dr. Vasquez turned to Harrison, her expression stricken. Commander, they're offering a technology exchange. According to this transmission, they have faster-than-light communication, advanced shielding, and intel on the Ravagers. Harrison's gaze fixed on the display. Humanity had long wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer, a plea for help, wrapped in tragedy. Vex's voice continued, laden with despair. Your energy signatures suggest your world is harsh, your species strong where we are weak. Perhaps you know how to fight where we can. Only build. The door to the communication chamber groaned as claws tore through the metal. Acid dripped from the intruder's limbs, searing holes in the frame. Vex watched in horror as the Ravagers began to breach. I do not know if this message will reach you, Vex said, his voice quivering. I do not know if you will care about strangers. But if you have compassion, remember, innocents are dying. Children, untouched by violence, are being slaughtered by monsters. The door gave way, and 3 drones stalked in, their insectoid forms glinting in the light, eyes gleaming with predatory intent. My name is Vex Milani, he said into the transmitter, his gaze steady despite the fear gripping him. I am the last survivor of mining station Kepler 44 Tobe. If you receive this message, remember us. Remember that we lived in peace and tried to survive. The transmission cut off abruptly. On the human ship, the bridge was silent. Harrison stared at the display, grappling with the weight of what they'd just heard. Dr. Vasquez, he said finally, his voice firm, how quickly can you translate a response into their language? Sir, she asked hesitantly, are you planning to reply? Harrison scanned the faces of his crew. They were good people, trained to protect humanity. The idea of ignoring such a cry for help was unthinkable. Yes, Harrison said with resolve. We're going to answer. We're contacting Earth Command, Harrison declared, his voice firm. It sounds like someone needs to show these Ravagers what happens when they target innocent lives. The crew began drafting their response, unaware that across the galaxy, long-range sensors picked up colossal energy readings closing in on Earth. The Ravagers had intercepted the transmission and were tracing it back to its origin, humanity's. First alien contact was fast approaching, and it would not be peaceful. At Luna Station, the emergency meeting room was steeped in tension. Admiral Rosa Blackwood presided at the head of the table, her sharp gaze sweeping over the assembled military leaders. In the center of the table, a holographic display looped the alien transmission received 12 hours earlier. Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Blackwood began, her tone steady but grave. We are no longer alone in the universe, and this first contact has brought a dire challenge. General Marcus Webb, head of Earth's Special Operations, leaned forward, his scarred hands. Gripping the table, Admiral, with all due respect, this could be a trap. We don't know enough about these aliens or their enemies. Blackwood inclined her head in agreement. A valid concern, General. But our analysis suggests otherwise, she gestured. Toward the woman seated beside her. Dr. Elena Vasquez has been studying the transmission. Dr. Vasquez, the floor is yours. Dr. Vasquez rose and activated a new section of the holographic display. The linguistic patterns in the message are incredibly intricate, she began. Faking this level of detail would be nearly impossible. The mathematical sequences, emotional nuances, and cultural references all point to authenticity. The room absorbed her findings in silence. Kira Okafor, Earth's leading military strategist, broke the stillness. What do we know about the Ravagers? Dr. Vasquez gestured toward the data on the display. They're a nomadic species that has been annihilating star systems for over a century. They move in massive groups, hordes and strip planets of all life and resources. How many planets? Asked Ambassador Thane Kowalski, the diplomatic liaison. 47 star systems in the last century, Vasquez replied grimly. That's potentially hundreds of billions of lives lost. The enormity of the numbers left the room in stunned silence. Finally, General Webb voiced the question on everyone's mind. What makes us think we can stop them when no one else? Has Blackwood activated another section of the holographic display? Our xenobiology team has studied the Ravager data. These creatures likely evolved on a world with stable, unchanging conditions. Their strength lies in overwhelming numbers and biological adaptations, but they may struggle against unconventional tactics. Okafor's sharp mind processed the implications. You're suggesting they've never encountered a species like us? And resourceful Admiral Blackwood finished. Ambassador Kowalski's brow furrowed. Admiral, are you seriously considering military action against an unknown alien species? The political implications alone, the political implications of inaction, are far worse. Blackwood interjected sharply. If these Ravagers have already consumed 47 star systems, they won't stop. Eventually they'll find Earth. Dr. Vasquez added, the Quillians are offering a full technology exchange. Their faster-than-light communication systems alone could advance us by decades, and their shield technology could revolutionize Earth's defenses. General Webb remained unconvinced. What do we know about the Quillians themselves? How can we trust that they're peaceful? Dr. Vasquez tapped her console, highlighting sections of the alien transmission. Their message included detailed technical specifications. We've examined their technology. It's all civilian. Construction equipment, mining tools, communication systems, but no weapons. Their society appears entirely focused on building and engineering, not destruction. Okafor, engrossed in tactical displays, nodded. It would explain why they can't fight the Ravagers. They literally don't know how to wage war. Blackwood stood, commanding the room's attention. This brings us to our decision. The Quillians are asking for our help. They're offering everything they have in exchange for military support against an enemy that's eradicating their people. How long do we have to decide? Ambassador Kowalski asked. The Ravagers are systematic, Blackwood said. On their patterns, they'll attack the next Quellian world within days. After that, they'll continue expanding. General Webb crossed his arms. If we intervene and fail, we risk exposing Earth's location to a species that annihilates entire civilizations. They might find us anyway, Blackwood countered. At least this way we gain allies and advanced technology to prepare. The debate raged on. Some advocated for evacuating Earth's outer colonies. Others for attempting negotiations with the Ravagers, while a few suggested ignoring the message entirely. If we decide to help, how do we get there? Kowalski asked. The Quillian territory is on the far side of the galaxy. The Quillians provided jump coordinates and technical data for long-range travel, Vasquez answered. Our engineers believe they can modify our ships to make the journey. Webb scrutinized the star charts. How many ships are we sending? How many people are we risking? Blackwood didn't hesitate. A full battle group, 12 ships, including our newest carriers. Roughly 15,000 personnel. 15,000 people to fight an enemy that's destroyed 47 star systems? Okafor said skeptically. Sometimes it's not about numbers, but how you use them, Blackwood replied. The Ravagers have never encountered human military tactics or specialization in asymmetric warfare, guerrilla strategies, and adaptive planning. The room fell silent as the weight of the decision pressed down on them. Humanity's first. Contact with alien life would come through the horrors of war. Kowalski finally spoke, his tone deliberate. If we do this, we're not just helping the Quellians. We're announcing humanity's existence to the galaxy and that we're willing to fight. That might not be a bad thing, Webb said unexpectedly. If there are others like the Ravagers out there, they should know Earth won't be an easy target. Dr. Vasquez brought up another section of data, or something else, she began, directing their attention to the Quellian findings. The transmission referenced other species already destroyed by the Ravagers. Helping the Quillians wouldn't just save them, might prevent future genocides. Kira Okafor scanned the tactical plans. Our Marines are trained for extreme environments. The Deathworld Corps has prepared for scenarios just like this. Admiral Blackwood surveyed the room. We have 3 choices. Evacuate Earth and run. Ignore the message and hope the Ravagers never find us. Or do what humanity does best. Fight back. The vote was close, but unanimous among the military leaders. Ambassador Kowalski was the last to agree. We're doing this, he said. We need full commitment, our best equipment, and most experienced personnel. Blackwood nodded. Agreed. I'll lead the mission myself. General Webb stood, his decision clear. Already the Deathworld Marines. If we're fighting monsters, we're sending our best monster hunters. As the meeting concluded, Dr. Vasquez lingered, approaching Blackwood privately. Admiral, there's something I didn't mention earlier. Aquilian language has concepts we don't. They have 17 terms for peaceful coexistence, but no word for victory in a military sense. Blackwood considered this. What does that tell us? It tells us we may be the first species they've ever met that truly understands warfare. They're not just asking for help. They're asking us to teach them something entirely new. Blackwood gazed at the star charts marking the route to Quillian space. Then we'd better make sure we teach them well. Orders were issued within hours. Earth's greatest military force mobilized for humanity's first interstellar war. What they couldn't know was that enemy scouts were already watching. Humanity's choice to help strangers would reshape the galaxy forever. At the Mars military shipyard, activity reached an unprecedented pace. Captain Alex Morrison walked the preparation bays, observing soldiers gearing up for war. The Deathworld Marine Corps, Earth's elite force, would soon prove why they carried that title. Morrison, a career soldier built like a tank, bore scars from countless training missions. He'd survived Earth's deadliest environments, from oceanic trenches to volcanic peaks. His Marines were equally hardened. Listen up, Morrison called to the gathered troops. We're not fighting humans anymore. These aliens have wiped out civilizations. They think they're the scariest predators in the galaxy. Let's show them what a real apex predator looks like. Nearby, Lieutenant Zaro Kunquo, an explosives expert, small in stature but formidable. In skill, checked her demolitions gear. Captain, do we have the intel on Ravager biology? Just came in this morning. Morrison activated a holographic display. They're big 10 feet tall with natural armor, razor-sharp claws, and acid blood. But they've got vulnerabilities. Detailed scans of Ravager anatomy flickered to life. Sergeant Tom Riley, a close-quarters combat specialist, studied the images. Their joints look weak, and that nerve cluster near the head one good hit. Should take them down. Morrison nodded. The Quellians provided extensive biological data. These creatures evolved as ambush predators on a world with limited resources, Morrison continued. They're used to overwhelming weaker prey, not dealing with someone who fights back. Chief Engineer Yuki Tanaka strode into the briefing room, carrying several modified weapons. As the team's technical specialist, she had been tasked with integrating Quillian technology into human systems. Captain, you have to see what we've done with their shield generators, Tanaka said, her voice brimming with excitement. She held up a rifle that hummed faintly with alien energy. We've combined their shields with our kinetic weapons, and the results are astonishing. She demonstrated by activating the weapon. The Quillian shields can be reversed. Instead of blocking projectiles, they now accelerate them. A standard rifle round hits with the force of a tank shell. Lieutenant Zaro Kunquo let out an impressed whistle. And my explosives? Even better, Tanaka replied with a grin. Their energy systems supercharge conventional explosives. A hand grenade now packs the power of a bunker buster. Morrison hefted one of the modified rifles, testing its weight. The Quillians never weaponized their technology because they're pacifists. Humans, though, we find military applications in everything. Outside, the training facility was operating at maximum capacity. Morrison's Marines were drilling against holographic Ravager drones. Simulated with data from destroyed Quillian colonies, Sergeant Riley sparred with a towering holographic Ravager. The insectoid opponent struck with terrifying speed, its claws slashing through the air where Riley's head had been moments before. Rolling beneath the attack, Riley sprang up and drove his combat knife into the vulnerable nerve cluster. "Good work, Sergeant," Morrison called out. "Remember, they hunt. In packs, you'll never face just one." The simulation adjusted, spawning 2 more drones. Riley immediately adapted, using the environment for cover. He eliminated the first target with his modified rifle before tossing one of Kunquo's enhanced grenades at the others. "That's what I'm talking about," Morrison said with satisfaction. Adaptability. The Ravagers fight the same way every time. We're going to show them what happens when they face an enemy that thinks outside the box. Dr. Elena Vasquez entered the training facility, holding updated reports. "Captain Morrison, we've received new transmissions from Quellian space. The situation is worse than we thought." Morrison signaled to pause the exercise. "How much worse?" "Ravagers aren't just consuming individual planets anymore," Vasquez said grimly. "They're wiping out entire star systems. 3 more Quellian colonies have gone dark in the last 48 hours. Chief Engineer Tanaka glanced up from her work. "How is that even possible? The energy required would be astronomical." "I don't know." Yet, Vasquez admitted, "The Quellians are sending us long-range sensor data, but nothing adds up. It seems the Ravagers have developed a new weapon." Morrison felt a cold chill run through him. "What kind of weapon?" "We're not sure," Vasquez said, her voice heavy. "The colonies are being erased without any signs of ground invasion, landings, or orbital bombardments. They're just ... gone. Completely obliterated. ... A matter of minutes," Vasquez finished grimly. Lieutenant Okonkwo paused her equipment checks. "Captain, if they can destroy entire worlds that fast, what chance do we have?" Morrison surveyed his Marines. These were humanity's toughest. Fighters trained to endure conditions that would break others. But even they were grappling with the enormity of their mission. "We have something the others didn't," Morrison said firmly. "We have surprise? The Ravagers have never encountered humans. They don't know our tactics, our weapons, or the lengths we'll go to win." Chief Engineer Tanaka was examining the intelligence data. "Captain, there's another detail. The Quellian records suggest the Ravagers are a hive mind. They think and act as a single organism across their entire species. What does that mean for us? It means they're predictable. Hive minds are efficient but lack creativity. They follow patterns. If we can disrupt those patterns, we might confuse them." Nearby, Sergeant Riley cleaned his weapon, listening intently. "Sounds like they've never faced guerrilla warfare at Tandron. Tactics, improvised attacks, fighting dirty. A hive mind wouldn't expect that." Morrison nodded. "Exactly. Every species they've fought has probably tried meeting them head-on in conventional battles. That's not how humans fight when we're outgunned." Preparations continued. Around the clock, engineers integrated Quellian technology into Earth's ships, while Marines trained for unprecedented combat scenarios. The fusion of human aggression with alien innovation was creating weapons and strategies that neither species could have devised alone. Admiral Blackwood arrived to inspect the progress. She observed Marines rehearsing assault maneuvers and testing their enhanced equipment. "How much longer do you need, Captain?" "We're as ready as we can be, Admiral," Morrison replied. "The real test comes in combat." Blackwood studied the tactical displays showing the fleet's route to Quellian space. "The fleet departs in 6 hours.
Ow.
Are your Marines prepared for extended space travel?" "Yes, ma'am. They've been training in zero gravity and confined environments. These soldiers can fight anywhere." Dr. Vasquez approached with an update. "Admiral, we've established contact with a Quellian survivor named Nala Sivan. She's organizing resistance efforts on Thelim, their nursery world. How long does that world have?" Blackwood asked. "Less than 72 hours before the Ravager horde arrives," Vasquez said. Morrison felt the immense responsibility pressing on his shoulders. Across the galaxy, innocent lives depended on him and his Marines to stand against the monsters they couldn't fight. "Admiral," he said, "my Marines are ready. We've trained for this our entire careers. Earth's children sleep safely because we stand watch." Die. Lieutenant Okonkwo slung her pack over her shoulder, her expression hard with resolve. "The enhanced explosives are packed and prepped. If the Ravagers want to fight, we'll give them one they'll never forget." Sergeant Riley checked his modified rifle one final time. 47 star systems, billions of lives. Of lives. Time to show these things what happens when they prey on the innocent, Sergeant Riley said grimly. Chief Engineer Tanaka sealed the final modifications. All equipment is ready, Captain. Human engineering combined with Quellian technology. These aliens gave us the tools, and we turned them into something they never imagined. Morrison surveyed his team. They were about to embark on a mission that could save an entire civilization or condemn humanity to the same fate. Yet they were ready. Earth's deadliest predators were going hunting, and their prey had no idea what was coming. The countdown to departure began, marking humanity's first step onto the galactic stage, not as conquerors, but as defenders of the innocent. From orbit, the nursery world of Thronal Prime was breathtaking. Vast blue oceans and green continents stretched beneath soft white clouds. It was home to 12 billion Quellians, most of them children raised in the peaceful communities their species was known for. In the Planetary Defense Center, Nala worked tirelessly at multiple control stations, her 6 arms moving with precision. Golden eyes, so much like her brother Vex's, reflected her determination. Yet desperation edged her voice. "We need more transport ships," she called to her team. "The civilian freighters can't evacuate everyone in time." One of her communications officers suddenly spoke. "Ma'am, we're receiving a transmission from an unknown fleet. They're requesting permission to enter our system." Nala's feathers flared with alarm. "Is it the Ravagers?" "No, ma'am. The energy signatures are completely different. They're transmitting in our language." The main screen lit up, revealing the image of a human woman in military uniform. Admiral Blackwood's calm, resolute face appeared as she spoke in translated Quellian. "This is Admiral Rosa Blackwood of the Earth Defense Forces. We received your distress signal and have come to provide military assistance. Please send us coordinates to begin evacuation support." Nala stared at the screen in disbelief. "You actually came?" "We gave our word," Blackwood replied evenly. "How much time do we have?" "The Ravager horde will arrive in 18 hours, Nala answered. "We've been trying to evacuate the civilians, but we don't have enough ships. We brought transport vessels," Blackwood assured her. "Send us your evacuation lists immediately. We'll also need tactical data on Ravager attack patterns." In orbit, the human fleet stood in stark contrast to the Quellian defenses. 12 ships formed a defensive perimeter, bristling with hybrid weapons born of human aggression and Quellian ingenuity. In the assault carrier's drop bay, Captain Morrison conducted final checks on his Marines. Their armor now integrated Quellian shield generators, and their weapons glowed faintly with alien energy. "Listen up, Marines," Morrison began. "This is what we trained for. On that planet are 12 billion people who can't defend themselves. Today we're the shield between them and the monsters." Lieutenant Okonkwo handed out enhanced explosives to her teams. "These aren't regular grenades anymore. One can take out a building, so use them wisely." Sergeant Riley briefed the close quarters teams, pointing to holographic diagrams of Ravager drones. "These things are tough, but their joints and nerve clusters are vulnerable. Don't waste ammo on their armor." In the technical bay, Tanaka monitored system diagnostics. "All modifications are stable, Captain. Quellian shield generators are operating perfectly." Suddenly, alarms blared. Across the fleet, the Ravager horde emerged from hyperspace, a nightmarish swarm of organic ships. Hundreds of massive vessels, each larger than the biggest human warship, moved into formation. Their surfaces pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, more like living creatures than spacecraft. From her command bridge, Admiral Blackwood watched as the alien fleet positioned itself around the planet. Planet. "My God, there are so many of them," someone whispered on Admiral Blackwood's bridge. The Ravager fleet moved with unnerving precision, forming a perfect sphere around Thronal Prime. This was no random attack. They had perfected this strategy through centuries of destruction. Their efficiency was terrifying. Admiral Blackwood turned to her tactical officer. "What are they doing?" "They're initiating some kind of scan, Admiral. Energy readings are off the charts. It's targeting the planet's core." On the surface, Nala worked tirelessly in the Planetary Defense Center, coordinating the evacuation. Human transport ships operated with remarkable efficiency. loading thousands of Quellian civilians and ferrying them to safety. Humans are better organized than we are. One of her assistants noted, "It's like they instinctively understand emergency management." Nala glanced at the tactical display, watching the human fleet maneuver. They come from a dangerous world. Crisis management is probably second nature to them. Above the planet, humanity's first battle against the Ravagers was about to begin. The alien ships extended organic tendrils toward Thronal Prime, preparing to drain the planet's core. Admiral Blackwood stood firm. "All ships, engage. Show them what Earth's children are capable of." The system erupted into chaos. Human ships moved with a fluidity the Ravagers had never encountered. Darting unpredictably like a school of fish evading predators, the hybrid weapons proved devastating. Missiles enhanced with Quellian energy systems shredded Ravager bioarmor, and kinetic rounds, accelerated by alien shield technology, tore through enemy vessels. But the Ravagers adapted swiftly. Their organic ships grew additional armor and weapon systems, evolving in real time to counter human attacks. "They're learning," reported the tactical officer. "Our advantage is shrinking."
How?
On the surface, Morrison's Marines launched their assault. Drop pods fell toward zones where Ravager drones targeted evacuation sites. The first clash happened in the heart of a Quellian city. Morrison's squad landed. Amidst towering, insectoid creatures hunting civilians, "Engage," he ordered, firing his enhanced rifle. The bullets shattered the lead drone's armor, its acidic blood spraying as it collapsed. The other drones turned toward the Marines, momentarily stunned. They had never faced resistance like this. Lieutenant Okonkwo hurled an enhanced grenade into the group. The explosion was cataclysmic, obliterating 3 drones and crippling others. "That's for all the innocent lives you've taken." She shouted. Sergeant Riley engaged the remaining drones in brutal close combat. Using techniques designed for Earth's deadliest predators, his knife struck vulnerable nerve clusters, dropping the creatures with precision. "These things are tough," Riley reported, "but they're not used to prey fighting back." The battle raged on, with human forces employing hit-and-run tactics. The Ravager hive mind struggled to counter their unpredictability. Meanwhile, Nala coordinated the evacuation under Morrison's protection. Families boarded human ships, while soldiers held the line against relentless Ravager attacks. "Your people are remarkable," Nala told Morrison during a brief moment of reprieve. "You fight like you're protecting your own families." "As far as we're concerned, we are," Morrison replied, reloading his weapon. "Innocent lives are innocent. Lives, no matter the species." Above, the space battle intensified. Blackwood's fleet used every strategy at their disposals, slingshotting around the planet's gravity well, deploying electronic countermeasures, and even ramming damaged ships into enemy formations. But the Ravagers had overwhelming numbers and a brutal willingness to sacrifice their own vessels for victory. "Admiral," called the communications officer, "priority transmission from the lead Ravager vessel. They want to communicate." Blackwood hesitated before nodding. Put it through." The main screen flickered, revealing the interior of an alien ship. The being that appeared was no drone. It was the intelligence behind the entire horde. The Ravager Prime towered over 20 feet, with multiple arms ending in razor-sharp claws. Its eyes glowed with an ancient, malevolent intelligence. When it spoke, its voice carried the weight of countless civilizations it had destroyed, unknown species. It began in flawless Quellian. "You fight well, but you... done in time." The tactical officer finished, his voice taut with urgency. Admiral Blackwood clenched her jaw, her mind racing. "Then we buy every second we can." As she turned to her communications officer, "Send this to all ships. Focus. Fire on the planet Cracker. Hit it with everything we have." On the surface of Thronal Prime, Morrison and his Marines held their ground against the advancing Ravager drones. Explosions lit up the evacuation zones as Okonkwo's enhanced grenades obliterated entire swarms. "Captain, Lieutenant Okonkwo shouted, pointing to the sky. Look, above them, the Ravager Prime's ship glowed like a second sun, its energy intensifying by the second. Even through the planet's atmosphere, its terrible light was visible. There. Going to destroy the entire system? Morrison muttered, his voice heavy with anger. We have to speed up the evacuation. Allah, working tirelessly in the defense center, overheard him. Our ships are at full capacity. We can't move any. Faster. Morrison glanced at his Marines. Then we hold the line. Every minute we buy is another transport that makes it off-world. The Marines redoubled their efforts, fighting with unmatched ferocity. Despite the overwhelming odds, they refused to give an inch, their hybrid weapons cutting through wave after wave of drones. Above, the human fleet unleashed a relentless barrage on the Ravager Prime's vessel. Enhanced railguns, missile salvos, and energy weapons pounded the ship's bioarmor. But the colossal vessel seemed unscathed. It's glowing. Energy only growing brighter, Admiral, shouted the tactical officer. The weapon will fire in 10 minutes. Our attacks are barely making a dent. Blackwood's mind worked frantically. What about the Quillian data? Did they mention any vulnerabilities? Dr. Vasquez, monitoring. The battle from a nearby station, interjected. The Quillians never studied the Ravager Prime. It was always beyond their reach. But... She hesitated, then pointed to a cluster of energy nodes on the holographic display. These may regulate the energy flow to the weapon. If we destroy them, it could overload their systems. Blackwood seized the idea. All ships, target the energy nodes. Focus all firepower there. In the drop bay, Morrison received the updated orders. They're targeting the energy nodes. Need to hold out for just a little longer. Okonkwo grinned, despite the chaos. We're not going anywhere, Captain. The Marines dug in, fighting with every ounce of strength. Morrison's enhanced rifle tore through drones, while Riley's precise strikes brought down even the largest attackers. The human soldiers were unstoppable, their willpower a match for the Ravager's endless numbers. In orbit, human ships coordinated their fire. On the energy nodes, a brilliant explosion rocked the Ravager Prime's vessel as one of the nodes overloaded, sending arcs of bioenergy surging across its hull. It's working, shouted the tactical officer. Blackwood leaned forward. Keep firing. Let up. But the Ravager Prime's voice echoed across all channels, a chilling reminder of their foe's power. You delay the inevitable. Your resistance will end, as all others have. Witness the end of your kind. Not today, Blackwood said through gritted teeth. Hull resisted at first, its dense organic structure writhing as if alive. But the Quillian modified shield generators proved too powerful. The ship penetrated the Ravager vessel, carving a clean entryway into its pulsating interior. Inside, the scene was nightmarish. The walls glistened with bioluminescent patterns, and the air was thick with an unidentifiable, acrid smell. Morrison's Marines exited the transport, their boots sinking slightly into the living floor as it pulsated beneath them. Stay sharp, Morrison commanded, scanning the surroundings. We're in the belly of the beast now, Okonkwo set up. A scanner to map the ship's interior. The Prime is likely at the core, she said. We'll need to move fast. These readings suggest significant bioactivity ahead. As if on cue, the Ravager ship reacted to their presence. Organic tendrils began to sprout from the walls, reaching for the intruders. From deeper within, the chittering sounds of approaching drones echoed ominously. Contact, front. Riley barked, raising his modified rifle. The first wave of Ravager drones surged forward, their insectoid forms gleaming in the dim light. The Marines opened fire with precision, their enhanced weapons tearing through the drones' natural armor and targeting their vulnerable nerve clusters. Okonkwo hurled a grenade into the advancing swarm. The explosion was devastating, obliterating dozens of drones and leaving a gaping wound in the organic structure of the ship. They're just going to keep coming, Morrison said grimly. We need to move. The team advanced deeper into the ship, the walls around them shifting as if alive. Each corridor seemed designed to confuse and disorient, but Tanaka's technical expertise guided them forward. "This ship is more than a vessel," Tanaka said, studying her scanner. "It's alive. It's adapting to us." "Then we hit it harder," Riley said, firing at a cluster of tendrils that attempted to block their path. Finally, they reached a massive chamber at the heart of the ship. In its center pulsed a grotesque, glowing mass, the Ravager Prime. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. A towering amalgamation of organic and synthetic components. Multiple eyes glared down at the intruders, and its voice filled the chamber. "You dare enter my domain?" the Prime said, its voice resonating in their minds. "We will die here, as all who resist the Horde have before you. Not today." Morrison growled. "Marines, light it up." The team unleashed everything they had. Modified rifles, explosives, and advanced energy weapons tore into the Prime's massive form. Its bioarmor regenerated with astonishing speed. But the humans' relentless assault began to take its toll. Okonkwo placed her enhanced explosives on key structural points surrounding the Prime. "These charges will destabilize its core," she shouted. As she activated the detonator, the chamber began to tremble violently. The Prime let out an otherworldly roar, its massive body convulsing as the explosives detonated. "We need to get out of here," Morrison ordered. "Move." The team fought their way back to the transport, the ship's interior collapsing around them. Tendrils lashed out in desperation, but the Marines' determination carried them through as they boarded the transport. Morrison turned to see the chamber collapse entirely. The Ravager Prime, consumed by the destruction. "Mission accomplished," he said, though his voice carried the weight of their losses. "Take us out." The transport ship escaped just as the Ravager Prime's vessel began to implode, its death sending shockwaves through the rest of the Horde. On the human flagship, Admiral Blackwood watched as the Ravager fleet fell into chaos, their coordination shattered without the Prime's guiding consciousness. "Target the remaining vessels," she ordered. "Finish this." Combined human and Quillian forces struck with precision, dismantling the disoriented Ravager ships. For the first time in centuries, the Horde faced defeat. On the planet's surface, the last of the Quillian civilians were safely evacuated. Nala looked to the sky, tears in her golden eyes. "You did it," she whispered, above Thronal Prime. The human fleet emerged victorious. Humanity had faced its first interstellar war. It had proven that they were a force to be reckoned with. The armor writhed, attempting to seal itself around the breach, but the modified shields kept carving deeper into the alien structure. Inside, the bioship resembled a nightmare. Walls pulsed with sinewy flesh, dripping acidic secretions. Massive. Organs beat like grotesque hearts, their rhythm echoing through the corridors. Spores floated in the air, deadly to most, but the Marines' earth-forged resilience, aided by their environmental suits, rendered them immune. "This place reeks," muttered Lieutenant Okonkwo as they advanced through passages resembling digestive tracts. "Stay focused," Morrison ordered. "The bioskins indicate the Prime is in the central control chamber." Resistance came swiftly. Drones, larger and deadlier than those on the planet's surface, emerged from side passages. Adapted to their environment, they moved with terrifying speed. Sergeant Riley confronted one with his combat knife, his movements fluid and precise. The drone's claws sparked against his armor as he drove the blade deep into a nerve cluster. Okonkwo lobbed an enhanced grenade down another corridor, where drones swarmed toward them. The explosion showered the walls with acidic blood and silenced the alien shrieks. "Keep moving," Morrison barked. The weapon fires in less than 8 minutes. As they pushed deeper, resistance grew fiercer. The Ravager Prime was aware of their presence, and threw everything it had at them. Chief Engineer Tanaka's scanner glowed with frantic readings. "The central chamber is just ahead, but Captain, the energy levels, it's massive." They breached the final barrier and entered an enormous chamber. At its core, bound by thousands of organic tendrils, loomed the Ravager Prime, 30 feet tall and encased in bioarmor. It radiated malice. Its heads bore rows of jagged teeth, Its limbs ended in claws, capable of rending steel. And its eyes burned with predatory intelligence. So, the Prime rumbled, its voice a resonant thunder. The little Deathworlders dare invade my domain. How quaint. Morrison raised his modified rifle. We're here to stop you from slaughtering innocents. The Prime turned its gaze upon them, a mocking laugh echoing through the chamber. Innocents. There are no innocents in this galaxy. Only predators and prey. Wrong, Morrison replied, unleashing a volley. The enhanced round struck the Prime's armor, barely leaving a mark. Now, my turn, the Prime growled, lunging. With horrifying speed, Morrison dodged as claws slashed through the air, missing him by inches. Okonkwo rolled behind cover, setting charges on the tendrils that connected the Prime to the ship's systems. Meanwhile, Riley darted to the side, targeting vulnerable joints, but the Prime outmatched the drones they had fought before. It was older, smarter, and far more lethal. 30 seconds. Tanaka shouted over comms. The weapon is almost charged. Okonkwo shouted from her position. Charge is set on the connections, but I need to reach the Prime itself. Morrison knew what had to be done. Cover me. He yelled and charged at the Prime, drawing its focus. The creature's claws raked against his armor as he lunged forward, driving his combat knife toward a nerve cluster. The Prime caught him in its massive claws, lifting him as it sneered, foolish. Human, you die for nothing. No, Morrison rasped, blood dripping from his lips. I die for something you'll never understand. Protecting those who can't protect themselves. Okonkwo reached the Prime's central nervous system and set the final charge. Goodbye, monster, she spat, activating the explosives. Chamber erupted. The Prime's body convulsed as the explosion shredded its neural connections. Morrison's knife pierced its brain, silencing its scream as the ancient consciousness died. Across the Ravager fleet, the connection severed. Ships went dark, their coordination lost. On the flagship, Admiral Blackwood seized the moment. All ships, target the disabled vessels. Destroy everything. The human fleet methodically dismantled the Ravager forces. Without their Prime, the once stoppable horde crumbled. On the surface, Nala watched the sky clear, her golden eyes filled with tears. The evacuation had saved millions, and the threat was over. Morrison's team barely escaped the collapsing bioship, returning to their transport battered but victorious. They had lost good soldiers, but an entire world had been saved. Later, as the fleet regrouped, Blackwood received a flood of messages. Other species had detected the battle and now sought Earth's aid, it seems, Blackwood said, gazing at the growing list of distress calls. Humanity has a new reputation. Nala approached. The Quillian Confederacy proposes a permanent alliance. We offer our technology and intelligence. In return, teach us what we have never known, how to protect the innocent. Blackwood looked at the star charts, noting the calls for help from distant systems. It looks like we'll be busy, she said. The galaxy is full of bullies who think might makes right. Let's teach them what humanity is capable of. As Earth's fleet prepared for their next mission, they knew their role had changed forever. It's no longer just survivors of a death world. Humanity was now the galaxy's protector of force that stood between the helpless and the monsters.